Yo, what's going on, guys? You guys have seen me here before. We're developing the partnership with Nemesis Gaming. They're having an event today. We got lucky enough to get invited. Super cool game lounge. A lot of people, they're going to be talking about, wellness, mental wellness, how to handle sleep apnea, stress, probably talk about their finances a little bit. And Effo-X is in the house today. Got the train hard, fight easy, skills over politics. We're going to be doing the second giveaway. Actually, it's the third now. Going to be giving away a hoodie. And we got some gear. Let's go check it out. Come on, guys. This is where the event is going to be hosted. I think they're going to have like a type of panel or something like that. A couple guest speakers. Fresh. But let's walk around. Let's see what's going on instead of walking through here. Let's go check it out. If you want to find Nemesis Gaming, it's in the Point Claire Mall, right off of St. John's and the 20 in the Montreal area. We'll have the address in the description below. Check out this unmanned station. Guys, check out the website. Culinary Fusion King, baby.
Always premium inspired, always delicious. This is ginger beer,
Okay.
sorrel, king sorrel.
And that?
This is Mobby. It's a beige.
I ain't never had none of it.
Alright, so
I ain't never had nothing.
so you're gonna try it today.
Oh.
So we're gonna start with the ginger beer. All the ingredients on the website.
Yo, that's delicious.
Thank you.
That tastes like lemonade almost, and I feel a punch too.
That's the ginger.
That's
the ginger.
really good.
Thank you.
Wow,
So-
that is really, really good. I'm not even thinking it up.
There's no alcohol in my beverages. They're
Oh, there's
all alcohol free.
alcohol free. Perfect. So this one is stronger, right?
It's made with hibiscus.
Honestly, that was really good. So far, number 2 is the killer.
That's the best one. That's the best
So
one.
far, number 2 is wow.
It has a slight bitter aftertaste.
No smell in this one. Very little.
It's made from the bark of a tree.
It's good.
Thank you. Fabian Trouble.
Nice to meet you.
Culinary Fusion.
All right, Effo-X.
Effo-X.
You're part of the community now.
Thank you.
Guests are just arriving right now. Check out the lounge. This is one of the speakers. Wills. I met him before. Very cool guy. And last but not least, Effo-X station, baby. We got the skills over politics shit right here.
Everybody like this young man here.
Giving away the dual tone. Check out the website. These are coming soon. The dual tone. This is what we gave away at the Sea House today. Something for the ladies. The energy speaks louder than words. We'll have all the pictures in the video description below. Time for me to man the station. Let's do it.
It's somebody to get to know, alright? We are representing tonight. Two brothers from different mothers. That's what it is. We're united front. So, there we go. That's my gift. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys get yours, okay? Because this is a testament. You're not just wearing any type of hoodie. You wear a hoodie that make a statement. If you want to make a statement, that's the hoodie. Get yours. You already know.
physical health and financial health. I love it. It's wrong. Because you cannot remove spiritual. When I'm talking about religion here, because there's a big difference between religion and spiritual. But this is not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about, financial literacy. And what does that mean? Man, what role is it played? Because as men, we find our purpose, we find our why, when we can provide. And that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to provide. We've been taught to go to school, learn something, especially if you come from, my culture. Either you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, innate. We've been told that we need to go to school and to make money. But we never learned what kind of relationship we need to have with money. Well, he must be a bad person, but yet we are getting up every day, going over for money, but somebody that found a way somehow through business, through investment. But how can we want something, but yet we are despising people that only have that? So for me, it's really about having a healthy relationship with money. The Bible says, and a lot of people misquote the Bible. They say the love of money, the money is the rule of evil, which is not true. It's the love of money that's the rule of evil. So what we want to do, we want to make sure that we have a good relationship with money. Money is like blood. If it does not flow, if it not circulate, it coagulates. It's the same as money. So I think for us to learn about literacy, it's about having a different mindset. Because I can give somebody $1 million, broke person $1 million, I can guarantee you by the end of the year, they'll be broke again. Because they did not understand how money works. So I think what we need to do is to really understand the type of relationship we're going to have with money. Because every time that, I hear a lot of people say, well, I got to chase the money, I got to chase the bag. But think about it. Whenever you're chasing something, that means it's running away from you. So there's a lot of that we say subconsciously, we're not even aware of what we're saying. But somehow it stays dormant in our mind. And our thoughts, and that's what I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, you got to be very careful the type of thoughts, the thoughts that you let take residence in your mind, because your thoughts will have an impact on your emotions, and your emotions will have an impact on your actions, and consequently, your action will have repercussions, good or bad. So I think we have to understand what we say to ourselves, especially when it comes to money. And I think we need to develop a healthy relationship with money, not looking at people that has money thinking that they have to do something bad. Yes, there are a lot of people that have done bad things with money, but not everybody. So for me, learning how money works, that's really changed everything for me. Because we're really told that we have to get up to go to work to make money. And there's a book, and if you have not read the book, if you have not heard the book, I'm not promoting the book, but I think it's important. That book, it says, think and grow rich. The book never says work and grow rich. What does that mean? That means it's in the mindset that you can create. It's in the mindset you can be creative. And for some reason, we keep working for money, and we can never work for money as much as our money can work for us. So we need to learn how to make our money work for us. But first, we have to have a great relationship with money. And some people, unfortunately, will die poor. And I want to end on this. Being poor is not lack of money. It's a mindset. And there are a lot of people that are broke, the only thing they have is money. So being broke is a mindset. Now you can go through a situation where you don't have money, but when we constantly tell ourselves, I'm broke, but what you're telling yourself is, I'm normalizing being broke, and that's okay. And we need to start changing our mindset, the way we approach money, the way we talk to ourselves. And I think that's very important. So financial literacy, I think that's something that I need to start in our home, and unfortunately we don't have the model because of our parents. For some of us, our parents come from a different country, and the only thing that they know is to work for money. And by the time they hit 65, 70 years old, they can no longer work for money. And now what do they have to do? They have to rely on the government. So I think for us, in the generation we're in today, I think we have enough information, we have enough tools for us to not continue to repeat what our parents have taught us, because we know better now. And now that we know better, we should do better. So probably let it go too long. But I think this is something very important, because we are not talking about it enough. And today is the beginning of a new era. I think today is the day that we need to start normalizing talking about money and not running and not things.
I want you to speak on financial literacy, because at the end of the day, family is the backbone of your community is the backbone of your nation, your nation is the backbone of the world. They have kept black men strapped financially in terms of literacy, understanding your money, to be owners of things rather than just choose things. A man is the breadwinner of a home, not the woman. We're not saying we can't work, and we can't be doctors, lawyers, professionals, or leaders. But at the end of the day, every respected community on the planet, the man is the leader of the house. How would that hurt us? Where our men have not been given that literacy, and it's caused dissension in the black family. What role has that played on our mental health?
Oh, absolutely.
Was home.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not the one taking care of the family, but it's his job.
Big time. But because we've been told that we're a provider, okay, we have to provide. And anytime that a man don't have a job, he feels like he has no value, because his value attached to how much he makes, even within ourselves. And the first thing we're going to ask a man is, what kind of job, what would he do? And all of a sudden, we're going to put him in a different status. We do it among ourselves because we've been conditioned to think that our purpose, our value is tied to how much money that we make. So therefore, if I don't mind making as much money as you, then all of a sudden I'm looking at you and I'm like, I feel bad. And now all of a sudden, it's started having an impact and effect on my mental health. And furthermore, the fact that we think that money is what's going to bring us value, it has an impact on our mental health. Why? Because all of a sudden we don't see ourselves the same way. And because we don't see ourselves the same way, we don't act the same way, we don't talk the same way. And we treat people, we treat ourselves like that. And I think at the end of the day, there's we have to reframe our mindset. We have to think differently. Yes, money's important, but money's not everything. And I think we need to start looking at ourselves the way that God made us. We're already valuable. We already have something to offer. Money is just a background. And we should stop running after money, because anything that we're running after it, that we're chasing it, is running away from us. We need to connect ourselves in a way that we have, not only we have a healthy relationship with money, but at the same time, not tying money into who we are, our value. There's much more we can offer than just money. And I think that's very important. Being a provider is not just about financial. Being a provider is also about mental, spiritual, psychological. But we've been told that being a provider is about bringing money. And I think there's a work that also we need to do with our women as well. Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, a lot of things that men do, we don't do it for ourselves. We do it for our women. But if we don't get the appreciation, and we don't get a break when things don't go well, and we're allowed to voice that, then we're going to do it. So I think it's important that we understand that our value and our purpose is not tied to money. It's what we have to bring to the world. Money is just a background.
What are some of the biggest financial mistakes men in their 20s, 30s, and 40s tend to make? And how can they correct that today?
Well, let's start with 20s. 20s, they think they have enough time. So you hear they have, they blow it. Because that's how we've been taught. We've been taught that, the nice sneakers, the nice jeans. That's what, again, go back to appearance. If people look at us that we're wearing Jordans, we're wearing $250 jeans, we're wearing a nice, jacket or whatever, that's what's going to bring us value. So my message for young men in their 20s, and I wish I was 20 today because I could tell my younger son that today you're 20, but you're going to close your eyes the next day, you're going to be 30. Okay? And you are not always going to have the strength that you have today. You're not always going to have the time that you have today. So what I say is work smart, not hard. And not blow your money into, partying. We're not saying that to have fun, but you got to put something away for rainy day. Because rainy days, not if it comes, it will come. It's when it comes, what are you gonna do? And a lot of times, because we're with our parents, we live with our parents, we live with our home, we don't have any responsibility. And I'll go even further to say, some of that responsibility also is on our parents. I think we need to teach our kids, even though they are home, but also they need to understand how money works. Because if you teach them, now they will know exactly what to do. There's a teaching that has to be done. Now, in your 30s, usually men start looking to get married. Now, I would say, definitely work with yourself, learn how to be stable, have financial stability. Because, taking care of a home, it requires a lot. So if financially you're not stable already, and I'm not saying you have to have money to get married or money to start a family, but you got to have a basic understanding about money. That's in your 30s. On your 40s, and I'm not saying it's too late, but that's when we have to have wisdom about how you're going to spend your money, where you're going to invest your money. Because believe it or not, once you get 40, you have about another 20, 25 years to work. So if you're not thinking about the future, it's not time for you to take certain risks. You can take in your 20, in your 30, but once you get to your 40, there's a certain risk. You can no longer afford to take because you don't have much time.
What would be an example of risk?
An example of a risk, as we know, crypto, and I'm not bashing crypto. It's just that's what comes to my mind. Here's the way that I tell people to take a risk. If you invest $1,000, how would that impact you if you lose that money? That's what you gotta ask yourself. If I invest $1,000 today, how would that impact my family? How would that impact my life? If there's gonna be impact in your life, don't do it. Because you gotta be willing to say, if I lose that $500, if I lose $1,000, I'm gonna be okay.
So it's not necessarily you're saying what it is that person's investing in, what potential loss, how would it affect that?
Well, it will affect you basically. Well, mentally, it's going to affect you because now you're going to feel like, okay, I just lost some money. Especially if you get communicated with your wife. And that's another problem. And all of a sudden, the bank account is like, oh, what happened? I'm not sure what happened. So that's what communication in a relationship is very important. And I think once you can communicate that with your spouse, well, at least there won't be any surprises. So of course it's gonna have an impact on me because now you just lost money. But again, if I do that $500 and I lose it, then it will have an impact. So yes, I'm still going to be mad. I'm still not going to be happy, but it's not going to.
But it's not your last $500.
It's not my last $500. Exactly. So yes, absolutely, and that's why I believe that money does have an impact, and for the most part, it has a huge impact. As a man, especially if you have a family. So I think it's very important that if you go to invest money on your 40s, you got to be very careful. On your 20s, you can afford to do it because you're still with your parents. On your 30s, you still have time. But once you start hitting 40 and plus, I think it's time for you to think twice about how you invest your money. Or what you're buying, not just investing. What you're buying. Because some people, in their 40s, still buying toys. Big boys, big toys. I mean, I'm not, doing shit on anybody. But if you're going to buy toys, make sure that your family's good.
Make sure your kids have a PlayStation. You don't.
You should have a PlayStation before your kids do. I'm just saying. And you should have money for your wife's hair and nails and all that before you buy toys. So make sure your family's good. Because at the end of the day, you're all responsible for your family. And whatever goes in the house is your responsibility.
How do we deal with the syndrome in the black community of being consumers rather than producers?
Again, we have not taught to be owners. And that's what I'm talking about. And I believe there's a study that came out not too long ago. It says the money in the black community stays probably like a couple of hours, about 2 hours. Something.
Matter of hours. Like a matter of minutes and hours.
About a matter of minutes or hours. And the Asian people and the Indian people, it stays there for almost a month. But ours, as soon as we get the money, it's out.
Like Asian communities, Jewish communities, certain European communities, it stays weeks, months.
Weeks and months. But for us, it's no longer hours, it's minutes. Why? Because we've been conditioned that what we value is based on what's on the outside. We're not thinking about it on the inside, we're thinking about the outside. So I think at the end of the day, we have to reconstruct our mind around money, on our worth. It's not tied to what we're wearing. It's not tied to what we possess. But there's much more than that. It's what's in our mind. And I think, to answer that question, I think there's a work that needs to be done, and especially in our generation. Unfortunately, our parents did the best that they could with what they had, but we have no excuse. And we have to do better for the next generation so that we don't repeat it. And that's the reason why we need to talk to our young men and young boys. Because if we do not learn from history, we don't repeat it.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I see some familiar faces. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Nemesis as well. I actually grew up as a child. It's very dear to me, so to watch the community come together, that's a beautiful thing. I'm going to talk about my business. People that know me, I wear many hats. So I am a major in finance. So I've been working and still do for a financial institution. And I've done pretty much every hat that you can have, from a teller to an advisor to a bank manager, branch manager, and now my work directly involves the community. Participating, being on the road, because I wasn't an office guy. Another one of my hats is that I'm a martial arts instructor. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? But for anybody that wants to try that out later, I'm not a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so anyway, that's a bad joke, it's all good. Okay? But I train, and training is a way of life for me. And then, finally, I've decided to start my business, which is focused on excellence. We started last year, and it carried over to this year. So first, before I continue, I want to just give a hand to everybody since 2009 and COVID. This really awesome. And the reason, my reason is the final act. It's because I'm also a proud father of 2 beautiful girls. And I said to myself, I cannot give them my job as a safety net. But what I can do is give them my business and let them decide what they want to do moving forward. So that was my motivation to carry on with this. And to touch about finance, I know a lot about finance, and I was listening to Willie sing some really crucial things. He touched points about the notion of how to manage your credit card, right? 30% utilization. What is the perception? He touched points about don't spend what you don't have. You're not actually spending. You're not actually saving $5. You're spending $6. Those are good points. My best advice, okay, is to state the obvious, right? How many people state the obvious? Oh, I'm just going to annoy somebody. Let me state the obvious. That shirt is black. This shirt is black. State the obvious. And in finance, the best way to state the obvious is to make your budget. Do a budget. Spend the time. It's like a CV. It's like your game plan. Spend the time to create your budget and include fun. Include spending. Include your money. It's a trivial exercise, but it really works. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I appreciate everybody here today. Come see me if you have any questions, and come interact. I'm at the Effo-X table outside, and that's it. Oh yeah, definitely. Thanks. So yeah, so we do an athletic brands for people that like to train. So the design is put motivation and positive energy and wear it. and go out there. And you know, sometimes when I'm going to the gym or I'm going to the dojo, I'm getting ready to do some exercise. It's happened to me where I've sat in the parking lot and just be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go home. I want that positive energy to resonate. So we decided to you know, put it on your shirt, wear it proudly, and motivate others. And that's pretty much what we do, and that's pretty much how we come about.
A survival mode for a man is a man that doesn't talk to anybody. A man that isolates himself. Because first of all, it has been proven, if a man calls for help, if your musician or whoever is under that line tells them, call you back, he gets an answer machine, or he's on the waiting list, he's not calling you back. So as soon as we see a man that starts isolating himself, but who starts talking a little bit weird, we have to be ears open.
Interesting.
We have to be ears open, and we have to break the ice. Because most men will never say that they're feeling something. The only time a man is going to go check himself is if a doctor tells him something's wrong. You know?
So again, physical,
Yeah.
never the mental or emotion.
Because a man, even if like you're going through depression, if your stomach doesn't hurt, you're not going to go check it out. So when your stomach starts hurting and you go to the doctor and they tell you there's nothing wrong with your stomach, but you might deal with a lot of stress, this is when a man might give somebody a call to check it out. But until today, it's still, like we're seeing a lot more organizations, especially in Quebec, that are seeing men coming in and asking for help, but it's not a big percentage. And this is something that we have to break.
How deep can co-parenting be in regard to the breakdown of the family or in the success of the family?
How deep? Okay. First of all, when we're talking about co-parenting, especially in our community, we forget something a lot. Especially in our community, there's not only just mom and dad, there's the aunt, there's the grandma, there's the uncle, there's the neighbors. So there's a lot of people around that kid's life that are all basically an adult, basically like a good figure for that kid. And the word co-parenting you mentioned, it came in Quebec when people were getting separated. They started talking about co-parenting because parents had to work with each other to make sure that they could raise the kids together. But after years and years, they realized, but why are we talking about co-parenting only when people are separated? Because actually, if parents start working on co-parenting as soon as they have kids, actually that could help their marriage be successful. So, and one of the biggest things in co-parenting that is still an issue today is communication. We know that communication is the key for everything. But when we're talking about sharing tasks, when we're talking about like, you know, that reconnaissance, you know, how do I recognize my partner? But am I able to communicate that with the other person? So I would say one of the biggest challenges today, it can be in our community, but for everybody, would be communication.
You raise a very good point. Co-parenting sometimes just doesn't only involve parents. You know the old African proverb, it takes a village to raise children. When I was a child, most neighbors, most people in the community had permission to whip their child's ass if they got out of work. There was a sort of a collective thing. We moved away from that today. If a parent got a call from a principal or a school teacher and said their kid was acting up, acting a fool, they usually assumed that it was true. Today, parents get that call, they want to go to school, they want to fight with the teacher. They want to fight with the principal, not my kid, right? When and why did the breakdown of allowing the community to also co-parent children? When did this happen? And why?
Okay, so to answer the when, it started in the 2000s. And the why is because a lot of people start realizing that kids have rights, okay, especially here in Canada. And we always had rights, but now a lot of stuff started happening to kids, where kids were put in a position where they would talk more, where kids would express what are happening to them and their families, well, if they suffer from sexual assaults and stuff like that. So kids start expressing themselves more. So then the society decided that the kid's word has a better value sometimes than the parents will have. So that's why anytime now we are in a situation where a kid did something, they will always ask the kid first what exactly happened. And after that, they will see if they take other opinions to make sure that that's point value. But I would say like it's because that the kids start talking more.
What are the consequences and what are the positive attributes to that?
Okay, it's a tough question because when we're talking about the role of man, this scientist, Mr. Brooks, wrote a book in 1998 on the different principle of masculinity. What is a man supposed to do? You know, a man is supposed to be strong. A man is supposed to be the head of the household and stuff like that. But what we're seeing these days is that there's a lot of men that want to take different roles and that don't fit necessarily in all those different criteria of masculinity. But we still live in a society today where it's hard for a man to take a stand and to be like, you know what, I want to take care of my kids. You know what, I want to be, yes, okay, I'm probably not the provider of the household, but I want to be the one that is doing different stuff that usually mom would do, you know, with kids. So there's a lot of positive because what that does is that we're showing example to our kids that, first of all, it's not because you're a boy that this is exactly what you have to do. It's not because you're a girl, this is exactly the steps that you have to take. But we're showing them different ways that they can be. And that would be a positive. The negative in this is that we still live in a society where men are not recognized. And this is why I created those prenatal classes for dads. Because when we're talking about, let's say, a pregnancy, first thing that comes in mind is mom and kids. If you look at all our biggest hospitals here in Quebec, every hospital is without men of them. So men is not even part of the equation. But they're saying, oh no, we're hoping to all the family. But the negative in there is that as a system, we're sending a message to them. We're sending them a message that you are needed to support mom. And if men are doing that, after that we're telling them you need to do more. So that's a problem in our system, first of all. But a lot of men, I would say, now are changing this narrative. You know, a lot of men are really pushing for to take care of their kids. And I'm not going to go into too much of the stats, but when we look at last year's stats on solo parenting, okay, we went from 19% in 1997 to 34%. That's a lot. That's a lot of men that are raising their kids on their own. So there's a lot of positive stuff, but unfortunately, we still live in a society that when do we talk about men on TV? When bad stuff happens. So I guess it's up to us, you know, to change that. And especially in our community, unfortunately, the word out there is still like, black men, you know, they're not really there for their kids. Black men are not present. But that's not true. That's not true. So it's up to us to make sure that we can show that it is not true and how we can make a difference by teaching our kids also to make that